The following lesson is designed to provide a brief overview of the specific tabs in the IAEG AD-SRT. Although there are multiple lessons that make up the overall course, it is recommended that participants take each applicable lesson in the same order they appear in the tool. Upon completion of each lesson, participants are encouraged to move to the next session in the series. This course uses text, images, audio, and video. As such, it is best viewed in full screen mode and with speakers or headphones. Should you have any questions related to the AD-SRT, we encourage you to visit www.iaeg.com to view additional resources.
By the end of the Product Statement tab module, participants will be able to do the following: explain the primary purpose of the Product Statement tab in relation to the AD-SRT, demonstrate an understanding of each field in the applicable subsections, and correctly fill out each applicable field within the Product Statement tab. This includes conditional mandatory and mandatory fields. In order to ensure all applicable fields are filled out correctly, it is important to understand some of the terminology associated with the various subsections. A BOM is a list of material and product numbers containing descriptions and quantities, which are used to manufacture a given product or assembly. The BOM level identifies the level of the product or subproducts in the BOM structure, where the BOM level of product is considered 1, number 2 is the subproduct of level 1, and number 3 is the subproduct of the subproduct. You may refer to IPC 1754 for further explanation of the BOM levels. An article is defined as an object which, during production, is given a special shape, surface, or design which determines its function to a greater degree than does its chemical composition. Additional information related to article definition may be found via EU Reach 1907/2006 legislation, Article 3.3. An article is defined as an object which, during production, is given a special shape, surface, or design which determines its function to a greater degree than does its chemical composition. Additional information related to article definition may be found via EU Reach 1907/2006 legislation, Article 3.3. Article composition example. The image on the right of the screen outlines the material breakdown for a fastener with chrome coating. The top box details the materials that make up the coating, zinc and chromium ion, the concentration percentage, and the applicable cast number for each. The bottom box details the components of the base material: carbon, iron, lead, magnesium, phosphorus, and sulfur. Hello, and welcome to this tutorial on how to use the Substance and Product tab in the Aerospace Defense Substances Reporting tool. In addition to this demo, we encourage you to gain practical experience with the tool by downloading a copy and exploring the various tabs and fields. Let's get started. Much like previous tabs, the Substance and Product tab has sections that have been minimized. Users may choose to expand each section independently of one another or open all minimized fields using the 1, 2, and 3 buttons located in the top left corner of the screen. It's important to ensure that conditional mandatory and mandatory data is filled out accurately, as missing or incorrect information can render the form and subsequent request incomplete. We've pre-populated the information in various fields for a quick review, so let's take a look at the Product section of the tab. To begin with, the BOM level. This first field is for the number associated with the bill of material level. A BOM is a list of material and product numbers containing descriptions and quantities, which are used to manufacture a given product or assembly. The BOM level identifies the level of the product or subproducts in the BOM structure, where the BOM level of product is considered 1, number 2 is the subproduct of level 1, and number 3 is the subproduct of the subproduct. You may refer to IPC 1754 for further explanation of the BOM levels. In the previous lessons, we discussed information related to the supplier product number or the product group ID. And here you'll see a few examples of the numbers and descriptions and the revision information. Beside that, we have the country of manufacture and the manufacturing site. These first fields require users to select the applicable country from a drop-down field. You'll see here that countries are represented by both country code and the name in alphabetical order. Additional information found in this section includes the number of instances of parts or subproducts used in a parent product when a BOM is provided, and the unit type, mass, unit of measurement, and mass variation of each product listed. Moving along to the Is Article Yes or No field. This is used to identify if the product or subproduct is an article. As mentioned earlier in the lesson, an article is defined as an object which, during production, is given a special shape, surface, or design which determines its function to a greater degree than does its chemical composition. Additional information related to article definition may be found via EU Reach 1907/2006 legislation, Article 3.3. All materials declared, yes, no. This identifies if all materials have been declared for the product or the subproduct. Is full substance declaration yes, no field. This identifies if the declaration is a full substances declaration, or FSD. FSD is when 100% of the substances in a product are reported, including the respective masses. It is an optional field. The number of instances field refers to the quantity of the product or subproduct that appears on the BOM. Unit type. The unit type identifies the type of unit for the product or the subproduct. A drop-down menu has various values such as each, meter, meter squared and cubed, centimeter, square and cubed, or liter, but other values may be entered. Moving along, we have the mass field, which identifies the weight of the product or the subproduct, and then the UOM, which identifies the unit of measure of the mass of the product or the subproduct. Once again, a drop-down menu is available, which allows you to choose percentage, milligrams, grams, or kilograms. However, other data may be entered in. The last section of the product field is the mass variation plus or minus percentage. This identifies the positive or negative variation in the product mass as a percentage of the mass value. As we scroll over to the next header, we'll now enter into what's known as the material section. The standard material number or symbol is a common designation for a material, generally an alloy or a polymer, for example, fluorocarbon or rubber. The next field over is the material name, the formulation trade name, the description name, which is supplier material name or formulation trade name or any other description of the material, for example, core material, wash primary paint, top coat paint, or cadmium plated steel as an example. The manufacturer we've already discussed, so let's move ahead to the material use description field. This is a drop-down menu with numerous examples. Examples include things like adhesives and sealants, hydraulic fluids, and extraction agents, to name a few. The description for each material use in the drop-down menu can be found in the Use Descriptor tab, or the UDL, which is located here. The Specification or Standard tab. This is in reference to the trade association, government, or similar organization standard or custom specification or standard number assigned to the materials, and it is an optional field. We've already covered off on the mass and the UOM and his article yes, no. So our next field over is it a homogeneous material, yes or no? A homogeneous material is one material of uniform composition throughout, or a material consisting of a combination of materials that cannot be disjointed or separated into different materials by mechanical actions, such as unscrewing, cutting, crushing, grinding, and abrasive processes. Examples of this may include certain types of plastics, ceramics, glass and metals, alloys, paper, board, resins, and coatings. Scrolling over again, we are now listed under the substance header. Let's take a moment to clarify a few key points. Each substance on the AD-DSL has an assigned IAEG number. The order of preference for substance identification, with one being most preferred, are CAS number, the substance's Chemical Abstract Services Registry number, the EC number, which is the substance's European Community number, and the IAEG ID, which is the IAEG number assigned to the substance on the AD-DSL. You can refer to the Substance List tab for IAEG numbers. In particular for DSL and elements that fit substance categories and not individual substances with a CAS and or an EC number. Additionally, substance name can be used if no previous ID is available. The substance's identification subheader is considered conditional mandatory because not all rows and fields under this section may be populated. For example, a part is listed because it's part of an assembly, but it contains no AD-DSL substances. To search for the AD-DSL substances, you can use two of the following methods. 1. Enter the CAS number in the desired cell in column Z, as you'll see here, and then press Enter. And the information in the corresponding columns, so column AA, which is the EC number, AB, which is the IAEG ID number, and AC, which is the name field, will auto-populate for those substances on the AD-DSL. If a CAS number is entered and it is not on the AD-DSL, then the EC number, IAEG ID, and name will not auto-populate. Option number 2, select the AD-DSL substance's name in column AC and select the name through the combo box in the drop-down field. Select the substance name and the CAS, EC, and IAEG will auto-populate. Note that some AD-DSL substances will not have a CAS ID. For example, aluminosilate refractory ceramic fibers, However, these substances do still have an IAEG number. Moving along, under the name field, this is listed as the chemical name of the substance. Beside that, we have the synonym field, which are common synonyms for the chemical substance. Beside that, we have the substance use descriptor, which is another drop-down field. In this particular case, this lists the various uses of the actual product and service that you're referring to. The description for each substance use in the drop-down menu is also found on the Use Descriptor tab. The second subheader in this category is the Substance Mass subheader. This is also conditional mandatory because the minimum, maximum, and nominal fields are not all required. See IPC 1754 for examples of mass data input. To clarify, the minimum field refers to the substance mass minimum value, which may be used alone or with a maximum value when a minimum to maximum range is provided. The maximum field, by contrast, is the substance mass maximum value. The nominal field refers to the substance mass value when a nominal value is provided. This could be in relation to a designated or theoretical mass that may vary from the actual mass. As mentioned before, we've referenced the UOM field, so we'll move ahead to the AD-DSL groups calculated on CAS. This field is only filled in for substances on the AD-DSL, and it is auto-populated. Lastly, we have the comments section. This is allowing you to provide applicable supplier comments for additional information as appropriate. As a reminder, it's important to note that fields listed in bold and marked with an asterisk are considered mandatory. Information missing from any of those fields may render the form and request incomplete. In the next lesson, we'll review the Substance in Process tab.
The IAEG AD-SRT provides organizations with an efficient way of capturing and reporting identity supplied product and substance information. Using the tool helps organizations ensure that information is documented under a standardized template with industry-accepted terminology and coding. Data recorded in the tool can be converted for distribution as it is compliant with the IPC 1754 data exchange standard.